Hello and welcome. My name is Amber Darby, and today I will be talking about public history. Now, in order to understand what public history is, we have to understand what history and the past is in general. According to the Webster Dictionary, the past refers to anything that existed or took place in a period before the present. History, in its most simplistic definition, is either the study or the storytelling of the past. To be more specific, history is the study, interpretation, and the storytelling of the past. And this is very important, not only because of what resources are available to help tell the stories, but also who the writers are because how a person interprets history is going to not only affect the story, but those who hear it. Now, public history is similar to regular history, but it is also its own branch of history. According to the National Council of public history has been defined as the many and diverse ways in which history is put to work in the world. In the sense, it is history that is applied to real world issues. Public history is different because of how it is presented and illustrated. Traditional history, or to be more specific, what most people believe history is, has been revolved around academics and teaching. While that is true in one discipline of history, public history is different. In fact, this is because one of the major defining characteristics of public history is a public audience. Instead of just lectures, books, and academics, public history involves teaching history in a variety of ways in order to both engage and teach the diverse public. Now, up until the late 1800s, almost anyone could write history without having to go through any requirements to be classified as a historical professional. However, the existence and uses of public history can be seen throughout the centuries. Although there is no exact time period as to when public history began, the earliest uses can be seen within the Victorian era. During this era, it was common to have what would be known as a cabinet of curiosities. These cabinets usually contained items that were considered bizarre or from a foreign area. The Victorian people, particularly those of high wealth and status, would have these cabinets located in their living rooms or their dining rooms or specifically a place of public setting. That way, whenever the people invited guests over, they would use the items inside as conversation pieces. They would discuss what the objects were, where the objects came from, and how they ended up obtaining it. One of the best examples of public history that was available at this time was the Smithsonian Institution. I currently volunteer at the castle as a docent. The Smithsonian Institution was founded by James Smithson, the son of a duke who had published 27 works in the scientific field. When he died in 1829, the money that was in his will was sent to America to build a building in his honor for the increase and diffusion of knowledge. After debating about the circumstance for over 10 years, the American government had it so that way a castle made out of red sandstone, I might add, would be built in Washington, D.C., and it would become the first building that would be known as the Smithsonian Institution. It would also be nicknamed the Castle of Curiosities because it had the similar ideals of a cabinet of curiosities. Today, the Smithsonian Institution has many buildings of various themes, and it is now the largest complex in terms of public history, or more importantly, of museums and public history. Now, in the 1970s, there was a sudden awakening in public history. During this decade, a so-called public history movement occurred in the United States and Canada. According to the National Council of Public History, this movement gained visibility and influence through the establishment of public and applied history programs at universities. Today, examples of public history include museums, tours, exhibits, statues, oral history, and many more options and varieties. Some methods of public history may not even see the public on an everyday basis. Certain lands or buildings that hold historical importance and value will be eligible for historical preservation and protection. Certain plots of land, for example, will be classified as a historical landscape with the intended goal of keeping it maintained and looking exactly as it did several hundreds or thousands of years ago. Now, employment in areas of public history is fairly new and it is continuing to expand. While there are positions such as historians, public historians, and tour guides, there are many more options available. For example, those who wish to partake in public history without actually having to deal with the public could work as an archivist. They would have the opportunity to work in the archives and records catalog with the ability to preserve documents for historians. Those who wish to do the more research side of public history might find themselves as research historians. However, positions in public history do not have to be just history related. Those, for instance, who have a passion for drama or theater could find themselves as actors and actresses. They will be able to accurately portray certain historical figures in specific places of public history. Overall, public history is a very unique branch of history that is both fairly new and still evolving. Although the existence of public history has not been made official until the 1970s, it goes back many years and even centuries. How public history will be taught, interpreted, and studied will continue to change over the years as the world advances in both technology and mindset. This is important because public history is studied because how public history is studied now will affect how it is interpreted and valued in the future. Thank you.